Hello there, good people, what is up? Welcome, my name is Marco and I'm a full stack developer. Today's video is part 2 in the project for building a Twitter clone using JavaScript. Last week in part 1, I mainly focused on the markup and the styling using HTML and CSS. Of course, it's a very simple and basic and minimal design, but it does the job. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. Today, instead, I'm going to focus on the backend side, everything that is on the server. So I'm going to build some routes, I'm going to think about the API, and most importantly, I'm going to build the database. So I need to think about how do I want to structure it, what is my schema gonna look like, and the models, etc. You'll see. In addition, I will implement some of the function for the frontend using JavaScript. Mainly, I will focus on AJAX calls. Now, what AJAX enables me to do is making requests from the frontend to a backend, fetching data, and then I will display those data on the page dynamically. Without further ado, let's get started. Full disclosure, I am a bit sick today, so if you hear any voice cracking or coughing, I apologize, I really do. I still hope that this video can be helpful and valuable for you, but if you had any doubts or questions, just let me know in the comments. Okay, this time for real, let's get started. Alright, so on the backend for this application, I will mainly use three things. The first one is Node.js, which is just the runtime environment for JavaScript so that I can use it on a server. The second one is going to be Express.js. This is going to be my framework for setting all the routes, and it's basically the brain that will manage all the requests and send the responses back. And the third one, most important, is the database. I'm going to use MongoDB, which is a non-relational database, has documents similar to JSON, and fundamentally it needs a schema. Now, what is a schema? A schema is basically what do you want your data to look like. So for example, if you want to register a user, you might want the username, the email, the password. If you want to save a message, the author and the content. And to save navigation data, you might want the name of the user, its last login, the average time, etc. It's basically what do you want to save about that specific thing. In my case, the schema is going to be very, very simple. I'm just going to have a name and a content. They're going to be strings and they're going to be required. And then I'll have a tag or tags, which is going to be an array of strings. And then also the timestamps. And that's basically it. After setting the database, what I need is a connection. And I will use the Mongoose API to do that in Express. Now, Express will provide the routing, as I said. When you're dealing with database, the fundamental logic to interact with them is called the CRUD logic, which is an acronym and it stands for create, read, update and delete. Luckily for us, the HTTP protocol has similar methods and they can be associated. For example, the post method can be associated with the create, the get, the read, put and delete, etc. Now, how do I transform a HTTP request to an action in the database? The easiest answer is through routing. I provide a route, so that you make a request to that specific route with the specific method, and that will be transformed into the action in the database. This is what basically an API does. In my case, I just want to create a tweet and also read it. There's not going to be any delete nor update. So in the first case, I'm going to have a post request to /park. In the body of the request, I want the name and the content because they are required, and I will respond with the new bark object. Secondly, for the read functionality, I will receive a get request to /park as well. No data needed, and I'll just respond with all the tweets. Now, this is quite limited. This is why in cases of get request, I can decide to provide query parameters. Now, query parameters are introduced with a question mark, and they basically allow you to make queries, specific queries to the database. So filter the results in the database. In my case, I'm just going to provide two, the tags and the name. So to summarize, my backend is just going to have one route, the /park, and it's going to accept two types of requests, two methods. The post is going to be used to create the record in the database, and then it's going to send the response back. The get method will accept two query parameters, the name and the tags. It's going to query the database, and it's just going to send the result as a response. Now that we're all set up, we can start. Okay, ready, set, go. So let's just follow what I've written here. So let's open the terminal and let's go into the server folder. Right here, I'm gonna add npm init-y to create the default package.json. Now that I have it, I can install express mongoose.env in course. So just install express mongoose.env for the environment variables in course. These are going to be very important. This better be npm. Good. Okay, let's see how long it takes. Beautiful. Then I want dev dependency. So install -- save dev, and I'm gonna install nodemon. This is what is going to allow me to restart the server every changes without all the time just doing manually. Okay, everything went well. Let's check the package.json if I have everything I need. I have nodemon, I have course. Beautiful. Okay, I think we can leave this out. So this again, this as well. Yep. Actually, okay, yeah. We need to create a server.js file in the server folder. I just gonna create it. Server.js. And then I'm going to import express.env and mongoose. Easy peasy. So at the top, I'm just gonna require it in. And this brings in all the environment variables, which is going to be extremely relevant. Now that we've done that, we can clear this out. Okay, let's check the next step. Let's create a Boilerplate Express App. So first of all, I think I need to create the app. So let's create the app, and you do it like this. Then I set up the middlewares. And the two main middlewares I need to use is course, of course, for the course headers, and the other one is express.json. This will allow me to parse the body to extract the content, the JSON content of the body. So we've done this, and then we can set the home route and set the port. I think I can set it, well, let's start like this. You know what? Just to be extremely clear about this, I'm going to set a /route, then provide a request, a response, and I'm just gonna send some JSON with a message. Hi there. Now I had to listen to a port, and I listen on port, and then I have a callback function where I can just console log something, and I console log listening on port, not good, listening on port. Beautiful. Now we can see if this works. Oh, maybe I need to, yeah, let's add something here. If I add dev here and I just say nodemon server.js, I should have this command now, and if I run npm run dev, something should happen. Beautiful. Now let's check my localhost 3000. Okay, I have it. Express is working. So I think I can just get rid of this. This is done. We created, we set up the middlewares. The home route is working and the port is listening. Now I need to create a database connection. First of all, I want to create a .env file because my URI is going to be set there. So let's do that now. Just create a .env, And in this, I'm just gonna call it Mongo URI. And in here, you're gonna put your URI. Right now, I'm gonna put mine, but you should keep this a secret, because the first thing you don't want to do is having someone else get access to your database, like for free. Okay, once I've set up the .env file and put the Mongo URI there, I had to create a connection in Express, which you can just create it like at the top right here, db connection. You can set it up like this, calling mongoose connect. Then you specify the Mongo URI, which is in the process .env, so it's an environment variable, and I call it Mongo URI. And here I have a callback function. And this callback function I can just, I can console log as well. Yeah, sure. Database is connected. Beautiful. Okay, now there are certain options that I can specify in here, and I will, because Mongoose require it, and are these particular options. So after this, I will just append it like this. So these are going to be my options, and it's basically something that Mongoose requires for you to do. If you don't do this, nothing is going to happen, but the first time you run it, you're going to have like a deprecation warning, and you're going to do it anyway. Okay, now everything should work, and if I go and check my server, the database is actually connected, so it's working. I think we can get rid of this. Beautiful. Now I need to create a database schema and just a model. And to create the schema is very simple. You always do it with Mongoose. In this I can say just db schema. I'm gonna create a variable called bark schema. It's gonna be a new mongoose.schema with the capital letter. Inside here, I can specify an object with all the things that I want in my schema. So the first thing I want is the name, and it's gonna be of type string, and it's gonna be required. Set to true. All right. Then I want a content, of course, and this is going to be of type string as well. And I have a content of, no, not a content, but it's going to be required. Set to true as well. What I can do now is have tags. And this is going to be an array of string. And this is not going to be required because you can just post something without any tag. Okay, outside this object, what I can do is provide this option, which timestamps set to true. And this is basically using the Mongoose API to set the timestamps. And you're gonna have two objects, two keys, the created at and the updated at, without specifying it yourself. So it's quite convenient, I think. Now that I have the schema, I need the model. How can I create a bark object? I just create something like this, and this is gonna come from the mongoose.model. The first is a string with the name of that model, which is gonna be bark, and then I need to provide a schema. So what is gonna be the schema? What is going to be the schema of this model? Okay, just like this, I've created the connection, I've created the schema, and now I have the model. I can save it and see if everything is correct. It is not, because I'm doing something wrong, for sure. At 30. What is this? Auto-completion. Get out. Okay, everything is working fine. I'm happy now. So we can start just, okay, we have a schema with name, with content, we have the timestamps, and we have created the model. Okay, it's time to create some routes. So the first route I want to create is going to accept a post method type of request. And in the body, I need a name and the content. And I'm going to use that to create the tweet, to create a bark. One additional thing that I'm going to need is a tag parser. So let's try and do this first. If I want to create a route, we can do it down here. In Express, I can just call the app and then post, and this means that this will accept post request, and then I'm gonna point it to /bark. As always, I need a request, then a response, and with this, I want to basically run some validation because I need the name and the content. So I can just do this. Let's say it's valid bark, and let's put in the body. So if it is valid, I want to do something, okay, for now. Otherwise, it's not valid, so I'm gonna put a status of 400, which is a bad request. And I'm just gonna send a message as well for good measure. I can say message, invalid request, okay. What do I want to do right here? So if I get to here, I'm gonna have a name in the body, so I can get it like this, rec.body.name. And I'm also gonna have a content, which is rec.body.content. Okay, now I need the tags, because in my models, I have tags, so I can do it like this, and I'm gonna need a tag parser, let's say, of some sort, and I can put a content here. Just for good measure, let's turn this into a string, just to be sure that everything is actually evaluated as a string. And after this, I'm gonna return a JSON with basically everything that I've just been sent for now. Let's see if this works, just to see if this works, of course. So I need a isValidBark function, and I can put it just down here. Let's say that it's an helper function. And I'm gonna create this function right now. It's going to take in the body. And what I want is to return a boolean with the body.name and the body.name.trim, so that I remove all white spaces. Is different from an empty string. This means there is a name in the body and it's not empty. And I'm gonna do the same for the content. So body.co and don't forget that content.trim is different from an empty string. Beautiful. Now I need this tag parser, and one way I can do this, I don't know if it's the only way, but I like to do it this way. It's with the regular expression. And to do that, I'm going to return, I'm going to use a method which is called match, which basically returns the matches of the particular regular expression. To introduce it, I just use /, and then let's think about how an hashtag is formed. So first of all, at the beginning, I have an hash symbol. And then I have a set of characters. I can accept letters and numbers. This means all the letters and all the numbers from 0 to 9. And curly brackets, 1 to 30 basically means 1 to 30 repetitions of letters and numbers. And I'm also going to use flags. One is the G, which is global, so don't stop at the first match, but just find them all. And I, which is case insensitive. So basically capital letters and lowercase. If I save this, and now I should have this, I should have this, I should have this. Everything should be working. Okay, let's see if I run the server. It says that it's connected. Let's use Postman, and I'm gonna make a request to my local host.
bark. Yeah, that's right. But I'm gonna make a post request without anything in the body. This should throw an error. Should. Invalid request. Beautiful. It does. Let's put a body with JSON in it. And I'm just gonna set it like incomplete. Just give it a name like test. For now, let's see what comes back. Invalid request. Beautiful. If I also put a content now, that should come through. It should. Perfect. So tags null because I don't have any tags in here. But if I start putting some, like, I don't know, test1, test2, hey, whatever, this should start come through. And they do. All right, look at this. This is beautiful. So it's an array of strings, and I have exactly the tags I need. So it works fine. It works as it's supposed to. And what I can do now is actually to save it to the database. So I have this Bark model, and I'm going to use this to create it. The create method I'm going to use for Mongoose, it is an asynchronous function. So I need to await it. And as such, I need to put the async keyword up top. So let's say that this is the Bark, and it's a Bark object. Create. I need to put the await, of course. Await, and inside this, I just create the name, the content, and the tags. Beautiful. And at the end, as object, I just return the Bark. Beautiful. And we should see that coming from Mongoose, because there should be the timestamps and also some additional information. This should all work. Let's see if the server is running. It is. Okay. So if I make a post request this route with this content, we should get back an object, a MongoDB object. And it happens. Beautiful. We've just created an object, and we can see that because there is an ID. This is what Mongoose has, and these are the timestamps. So created that and updated that. And also this tells you that, yes, it's coming from MongoDB. Beautiful. So we can create objects. Now, let's do just some error handling, because, you know, these things can work, but it's not always sure. So just put a try catch block here. Very, very simple. And if something goes wrong, I'm just going to return a JSON with the error, with the same name. Yeah, why not? So if something goes wrong. And I also need to put this inside. Yeah, better, much better. All right. So now I can basically create a post. Let's see if I have done everything correctly. Yeah, this is done. Now I need a get route, and it accepts two query parameters, tags and names, and that is to read the Bark. Okay, let's try and create that. app.get, because it's going to be a get request. The endpoint is going to be /bark, and as always, I take in a request, a response. And in here, I'm going to do something. So for now, let's just return all of them and see if this works correctly. So let's see how we can do that. We can use the find method, which finds everything in the database of MongoDB. Let's initialize barks, and I'm gonna say that bark.find. And if I put it like this, it's basically find everything. There is no specific condition. Now, find is an asynchronous method, so I can just put the asynchronous keyword there and await. And to turn this into a full-fledged promise, I need to run the exec method. This is from the Mongoose documentation. Mongoose does it like this, and it's fine. Now I'm going to return all the barks. So every time I make a GET request to this route, I should get back all the bugs that I've saved. Let's see if this happens. So instead of a post request, I do this, and yep. So this is okay. This is the first one I've done as a test, and this is the one I've just done right now. So it's basically returning everything, and it's returning. This is the first object. This is the first test. Oh, this is the second one. Okay, and this is the third one. You know what? We could do something like this. Return the count. How many do I have in return? But anyway, right now it works. Now I want to add additional kind of specific conditions. And I say that I accept tags. So I can say tag equal query. And this will grant me access to the query parameters. And I have to put the specific name. I said tag, if I remember correctly. Tags, well. And then I can have name, correct? That query dot name. Okay. Now I can just do something like this. Very simple. An if-else statement. So if tag, so basically if there is in the query parameter a tag, well then the query is not going to be this, but it's going to be this. Okay. And here I can actually declare the variable like this and not redeclare it, so that I can change it all the time. So this is not going to be like this, but now I need to specify something, and that is in we call it tags. So tags, and that has to be tag. Beautiful. So basically I'm finding all those tweets, those sparks that have the tag in the description, in the tags. Else if, and here I want a name. So if there is a name, this is going to be a little bit different, and instead of finding by tag, I'll find by name, and name is equal to name. Okay. Else I just return this, then bark is equal to this. So basically return all the barks, all the tweets. Now this should work fine. Now this should work fine. Let's test it. Oh, and let's put a count, because why not? So I'm gonna have barks and count, which is going to be barks.length, just to see how many comes back. Okay, let's see if everything is working fine. Let's check the server. The server is running. Beautiful. Let's send it. Okay, in the bar, okay, count, I got 3, and it's returning all of them. So let's try and put tags query parameter, and let's take start as a query parameter. Now, something should go wrong, and I'll tell you why. If I do like this, nothing comes back. And this is quite obvious, because if you notice before, the hashtags are included with an the tags are included with an hashtag. So basically it's looking for this without this in front. It's no problem, we can add it like this. So we can say the tag is an hashtag plus this. So now I should actually look for the real thing, and it should work. Again, tags is equal to start. Let's see if it does it. And it returns 1, which is this. And yeah, it looks fine. So basically it's returning something that has start as an hashtag, which is exactly what I want. Now let's do it by name. This is name. Let's see if this works as well. It should. It doesn't, because how am I saving names? Name. Oh yeah, haha. See, this is what I meant. Because now if I add this will always be true. It will never be undefined. So I can use a ternary operator for this. Yeah, this was a stupid mistake. So rec.query.tags, if this exists, you're gonna add the symbol. Okay. Otherwise, it's undefined. You just leave undefined. So just like this, I should now see everything coming through. It doesn't, because this server is complaining. Yeah. Okay, let's just run it again. It works, it's connected. And okay, now this works fine. The tags should work fine as well. Start. It does, it returns it. Now let's give it a name. Okay, beautiful. And I have two tweets by this author. Name here, name here. Beautiful. Okay, so the post request works and the get request works as well. Now you might want again to do some try catch here, because there is a lot of waiting going on, and I can just catch the error like this, and I can, as before, just return the error like this, very simply. It's not super fancy, but it works. Beautiful. Now let's see the get request. I can accept two query parameters and they both return a JSON. Beautiful. Now it's time for some front end. Okay, in the front end, I'm going to have what is called AJAX calls, and AJAX means Asynchronous JavaScript And XML. Now, XML is not used, it's not very used anymore. I'm going to use JavaScript, I'm going to use JSON files. And to make these AJAX calls, I'm going to use the Fetch API, which has support for basically every browser, and it's extremely convenient. What AJAX allows you to do is basically make calls to a backend from the front end, and this enables asynchronous calls. Let's go in my public folder where I have my index.js, and this is going to be my front-end JavaScript. Okay. I also want to open live server on the index.html. Beautiful. This is what I created last week, so that I can see live everything that I'm doing. Now, these barks are all hard-coded, so with HTML. But what I'm going to do is have this container, because they are all in a container, basically empty when the page loads. And then through an AJAX calls to my backend that I've just created, I'm going to receive all the barks and I'm going to put them all on the page. So I say we can start. Okay, so first of all, let's create an API URL so that I know the URL I'm sending the request to. It's always good to have it as a global variable. And this is /bark. Okay, now what I want is actually 4 functions, because we have 4 methods. Basically, we have 2 methods. We have the post and the get, but we have 4 options. The post, which is this, will create the bark. Okay. Then we're gonna have the get all. Then we can have the get by tag. And then I can have the get by name. All right. So let's create asynchronous functions for all of this, and they need to be asynchronous because the fetch API returns a promise. So I need to do this, and this I can say create bark. Yep, and it's going to take we can say the body of the whole request, and then I can just copy paste this down here and down here, down here. Beautiful. This is going to be get all barks, and doesn't take anything. This is going to be get barks by tag, and I probably want the tag. And this is going to be get barks by name, and I want the name. Okay, let's start, since we have something in the database, let's start using these methods to get the records. So let's have the index.html on the side here. As you can see here, maybe you don't see it very well, I have a bar container where I have each individual bark. Okay, so basically this is always going to be present on the page, but it's going to be empty because I'm going to remove this. And with an AJAX call, I'm going to gather the data to compile. To compile this whole thing. Okay. So what we can do here is to make a request. So I can say barks is equal to await. I'm going to use the fetch API, and as the first argument it takes the URL. By default the fetch API makes a get request, so I don't need to specify anything. This should return the request. Actually, let's put it like this: response. If I want the actual barks, I need to transform this into a JSON. And this is an asynchronous function as well. It returns a promise, so I need to await for that as well. Once I have it, I can console log it just for now, just to see if what is returning is what I actually want. Now I need to attach this to something. I will just attach it to the loading of the page. If I call it outside, get all barks like this, as soon as the page loads, I should see something coming through. So if I go here and inspect it, in the console, I should have an object with barks. I have 3 barks, the ID, the name, the tags. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, I'm receiving exactly what I want. So I can do the same with these functions, because I know that the final URL is going to change. What I can do now is do something different, like this. And inside here, inside this. The URL is going to be different because now I have to add a query string. And to add this query string, I can use a template literal and put the question mark. This is very important because it introduces the query parameter. Tag equal, and then I'm gonna introduce, I think it was tags though. Yeah, I'm gonna introduce the tag. All right. So basically this URL is going to be /bark, and this is going to be the query. Beautiful. This is going to be basically the same, so I'm just gonna copy paste. Beautiful. And this time it's going to have the name attached to it. Name. Okay, I'm gonna of course have different responses from each one, and I'm not logging anything. But what I want to do when I have these barks, all these barks, I want to show them on the page. So I can say display barks. And for this, I'm gonna just create a function so that I can basically reuse it for all of these 3 functions. I need to write it one time. And well, I can say display barks. Yeah, why not? And this is gonna take some data in. In this case, it's gonna take the barks. Okay, Beautiful. So let's create it, and let's do it like down here. Let's remove this. So this is a function that I call display barks. It takes some data. Okay, now there are two ways we can do this. One is the inner HTML property. The inner HTML function renders everything on the page as HTML, so it is evaluated as HTML. If I have an H1, it's gonna be transformed into an heading. It's gonna be rendered as an HTML, and this is not what I want. This is extremely important because if the user, basically a bark, a tweet, is something that the user is posting, if they can choose via HTML tags, if this is a heading or a paragraph or an H2, etc., they might also want to inject some script, okay? And that script might be extremely dangerous for my website. I might run in the what is called the XSS risks, which is cross-site scripting. So I don't want to render anything that is input by the user. What I can do is to create each individual element, and I can do that very easily, and then set the text content of each element as I want. It's a bit longer, it's a bit more tedious, but it's definitely the safest choice. So if I analyze just a bark card here, okay, I have the main div, which embeds everything, which has a class bark. So the first thing I'm gonna do is the bark div. Just gonna use the document.createElement, and I'm just gonna create a div, okay? And then I'm just gonna add a class list, okay? And this class list is going to be bark. So this, I've just created this, okay? Beautiful. Now I need to create an H3. So let's put, this is the name, okay? And actually I need to do this for all of them. So what I can do here is data for each. What if I don't have data? Like 0, okay, let's put something like this. If data.length is greater than 0, so I have some data. You know what? I have a count. I'm returning a count, so I can just do this. Data.count. Will I have it? Yeah, I will. Okay. So it's longer than 0, so I don't have any result. I'm gonna bother doing something like this. The name is a new element dot create element, and this is an H3. Okay. And the name dot text content, and this is just gonna be text, is the actual data.name. Actually, I think I've put it in something different. Let's see what I've done here. I'm returning, in the barks. So I need to access the barks and then, okay, not this, but this. So this is data.barks.name. This should be correct. Okay, so this is set. Then what I have is another div, so I can create the bar content div. Okay, document.createElement. It's another div, and I'm gonna have the class as well. .ClassList.add, and this time is bark content because I put it like this. And of course the bark content, oh yeah, okay, there's a p paragraph, so I can just say the actual content. Okay, it's a p tag, it's a paragraph, so I need to create a paragraph, and the content.text content is equal to the data.barks because it's inside there. Wait a minute, I'm not doing a for each. Wow. Okay, let's do like this. I'm stupid. Wait. Let's select everything. So if it's longer, I'm gonna loop over everything for each. And in here, I'm gonna have the single bark. Okay. And for every single, well, actually I can do, yeah, like this. Dot barks. Okay. This is much better, because now I can have, let's say it like a record, so I don't have to do anything. I'm gonna create a div, I'm gonna put it this, but this is going to be different because now I can say just record.name. It's much easier, much better. And here as well, I can just say record.content. Okay. So basically, I'm looping over the data.barks, which is all the tweet. I can get access to each record. And for each record, I'm going to create a bark div with a name. And I'm going to set the name as the record.name. And here, okay. When I create the p tag, if you can see here, it is inside this bark content. And I want it inside. So I had to append it. And since I have it, I can just say bark content.append child. I'm going to append the content. Okay, beautiful. And I also have this little span right here with a class of date. So I can create that as well, which is, I don't know, let's call it date. Why not? What I can do is to, let's create an element right now. And this is a span because I decided to do it. And then the date.text content is going to be a new date object. So that is actually, I think the thing was created at, which is exactly what I want. So record.created at. Okay, but here I need to transform it to like to date string. Let's try this. Why not? To date string. I'm not sure about this, but we'll see what comes out. Now that I also have the date span, I just again need to add the bark content, append child, and I'm gonna append the date. Beautiful. So now that I have all of this, basically everything, I need to append everything to the main thing. And I need to do it for all of them. So it must be inside the for loop. So now I can add to the bark. Let's give it some space. The bark.append child. And here I have to append the name. And then I will append the bark content, which are the only two things that I have. It's pretty simple. Beautiful. Now that I have everything appended to this, I need to append everything to the bark container, which I don't have. But I can select it as a global variable. Right here, I'm going to say just bark container. And this is a simple document.query selector. So that I can select it. It's a class and it's a bark container. Container. Whoosh. So now I have this selected, and I can, every time I create a bark, I can just get access to the bark container and append child. And I'm gonna just append the single bark. So basically this is what is going to display everything. There is something that is missing here. The first thing is, what if it's 0? And I can just say else. For now, I'm just gonna return. I mean, I don't care. There is nothing, don't do anything. But what's most important is that I need to set the HTML of the container. And here I can use inner HTML because I'm basically setting myself and it's empty. It's nothing. And this will wipe out everything all the time that I call these functions. So right now, something should happen. if I call this function right when it loads. So let's see what is going on. Nice. You see? I mean, these are coming from the database. I gotta say, oh, this is invalidate. Because there isn't one. Yeah, sure. This one didn't have a date for whatever reason, but this is the display of date, and I'm not getting why they're not displayed on the right side. That should be on the right side. Oh, because I'm not adding the class. Yeah. So here in the date, I also need to give it a class list of date, because I call it this way, which is right here. Yeah. If I save this and I see it again, yeah, it's right on this side. Beautiful. This is actually coming from the database. This is everything that I've put in the database, and this is the great thing about web development. I mean, to see the fruit of your work. I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about this. Okay, let's not go too much over our heads, and let's think about the form. Now, this form will send a post request instead of a get request. Oh, actually, what I need to do is also to implement this, but basically this will just have this. And if you were wondering when I can use this function, I will show you in the next episode, where I'll parse tags and names and add some functionality. So make sure to check that out as well. Now, the post request happens when a certain event is triggered. And the event I want to be triggered is actually on the form. So here I have this form, which is this, okay? And I can select it. So create Bark form. This is the actual form. Document, the query selector. Nope. And it's this. Okay, so now I have access to the form. Now that I have selected, I can attach an event listener. I can add an event listener, and it can be triggered when I submit the form. Okay, I have access to the event, and here is gonna have an arrow function, and I'm gonna do something. First of all, I want to prevent the default, because if I don't do this, every time that I hit send, it's gonna reload the page, and I don't want that. So what I want to do is to prevent default and then send a post request to my backend API. I'm going to use the good old fetch API. I need to await fetch, and the URL is going to be exactly the same. So first of all, this needs to be async, because I can use await. But now I need to specify some option, and the first option is the method, and the method needs to be a post method this time, okay? Then I need to specify in the headers what I am sending. And in the headers, I can specify an object, and with content type, I can specify application.json, so that my API knows and is able to parse this correctly. Other than the headers, I can actually put a body. So I have to send something. And to do that, I'm going to use the stringify method. And this is going to take basically the form data. Okay? Like this. Beautiful. All right. Now, I don't have this form data. How can I get access to it? That's no problem. I just create it like here. And it's going to specify the form data. In which form am I talking about? The create Bark form. Beautiful. So this is going to grab all the inputs from these two with their names. And one name is name and the other is content. And this is very important because the body will be sent with these names. And if they are not correct, the API won't work correctly. So now I'm basically sending the post request, and I'm going to receive a response. What I can do is to just console log that response for now. And let's see if I'm creating something. Okay. So now every time I submit the form, something should happen. Let's make sure that my server is working perfectly fine. Yep. So now let's create another test. Let's say test 2. This is a test. And let's click send. It's not resetting because I didn't specify it. What is bet request? I did a bet request. And that's because... So this is the response basically. Well, this is fine, because it says that it's a bet request. Exactly, I receive a 4 under status code. And I need to see what goes out, because I might not send the correct thing. Let's do it like this. Maybe it works a little bit better. So the payload is going to be the name, and I'm going to specify form data.get name, okay, so that I can select everything, and this is the content. All right, and instead of the form data might throw the error, I'm just gonna send the payload just like this, because why not? Okay, after this, yeah, I mean, we can even reset the form. So if I just put the create bar form.reset, it's going to reset it. Not like this. Man, auto completion. Okay. Oh my God. Reset. That's it. Okay. Good. And I'm gonna console log the response. So let's try it again. Test 2. This is a test. And let's click send. It's gonna reset it. Let's give it an inspection. And I don't get the error. So probably was the form data. So what I want to do is, I have a status here. So if I can get access to this, I can just say if response.status is equal to 200, then I'm gonna reset the form. Okay. And I'm also going to do this. I want to not refresh the page, but I want to load the new thing. And since I have this into, actually I don't even need this function. Pfft. Even better. I can get all the barks just like this. This will handle everything. Else just return, basically it doesn't say anything. I can, yeah, for good measure, I can console error, whatever is gone wrong. But response.status text, which is going to be okay, not found, or unauthorized, whatever. So every time I create one, now I should see it on the screen. And let's see if this works. Well, first of all, I can see that this is coming through. This is what I basically created just right now. But now I want, actually it's going upside down. Oh well, we're gonna fix that later. So let's take a test 3. And this is another test. Yeah, okay. Just gonna send it. And I should have it just right here. Beautiful. It has loaded on the page immediately without refreshing it. This is the power of AJAX file. Now, what I don't like about this is that they are in reverse order, because this is invalidate, so it's the first one, but this is the first one I've created. So I need to sort them, and I can do that from my server. So now my frontend works perfectly fine. We can remove this. We've done this using the fetch API, wait for functions, looked at the response, and we actually put it on the page. But now I need to look at the server and see right here how to sort it.
And to sort it, I can use the sort method, the sort function, which is from Mongoose. And it goes something like this. I need to put it like after the find. It takes options. And I want to sort them via the created at key, which is in the timestamps. So if I just say created at, and I put -1, this is going to give me exactly what I want. So it's going to be put in the order that I want. So I can just add this here and this here before the exec. Beautiful. Now this should return, let's see if it works. Yeah, it's still connected. This should return everything in, let's inspect this for a little while. Console log. Okay, but if I reload this, yeah, perfect. Now I have the latest tweet right at top and the last one, the earliest one right at bottom. We can verify this. This is new. New test. This is the newest. And it should just, put it like right here. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, everything is done, and make sure to follow the next part where I'll actually handle these cases where there is an hashtag and for the name. So make sure to check that out. All right, so as you can see, this project is almost done. We've created the front end with HTML and CSS, and today we built everything that says on the back, and also some animations and some dynamic functions on the front end using JavaScript. To do something more advanced, there's going to be a part 3 next week, so make sure to check that out. In that video, I will implement some functions, some details and features that will bring this project from what it is now to a real Twitter clone MVP. Mainly, I'm talking about tags functionalities and also by author. So again, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very, very much for watching. And as always, stay tuned for more, and bye-bye.